Let's be honest, trying to get strong can feel, well, overwhelming. There's so much conflicting advice out there. If you feel like you're putting in the work but just spinning your wheels, this is for you. We're going to cut through all that noise and give you a smart, science-backed guide to building real, actual strength.
You're showing up, right? You're lifting, you're sweating, but the progress you want just isn't happening. Maybe it feels super slow, or maybe you've hit a plateau completely. It's a really common, really frustrating feeling. But the good news? It's almost always because of a few small things in our approach that are totally fixable. So we're not going to sell you some crazy, complicated routine. Nope. What we're going to do is translate the best science out there into a clear, simple roadmap that you can actually use to build strength that lasts. Okay, before we jump into the how-to, let's just take a second to really lock in the why. Because when you understand why this works, you'll have so much more confidence in what you're doing, and that makes it way easier to stick with it. Just let that sink in for a moment. The research isn't wishy-washy on this. It's crystal clear. When you compare it to doing nothing, strength training is an absolute game changer for our health. The big takeaway here is that when you do it right, your effort is never wasted. So what does works actually mean for you in your day-to-day life? Well, for starters, you get measurably stronger. It can increase muscle size, which is awesome for your metabolism. It boosts your power, making everything feel easier. But it also improves super practical things like your overall physical function, how fast you can walk, and your balance. All stuff that's absolutely critical for feeling amazing long-term. All right, so we're all on board. Strength training works. The next logical question is, how do we make it work for us? The answer is actually pretty simple. It all comes down to 3 core principles that are the blueprint for any program that actually gets results. This one is the absolute cornerstone of getting stronger. Your body is smart. It adapts to whatever stress you put on it. So if you want to keep adapting and getting stronger, you have to gradually increase that stress. That could mean a little more weight, a few more reps, or just better form. If you do the same thing forever, you're going to get the same results forever. Let's be real. Our bodies and our minds crave variety. Doing the same exact workout week after week gets boring, right? Changing things up doesn't just keep you from dying of monotony. It actually helps your body adapt to new ways and, honestly, keeps you way more motivated to show up. Okay, this might be the most overlooked principle of them all. You don't get stronger in the gym. You get stronger when you recover. All that hard work has to be balanced with enough rest so your body can repair and rebuild itself. Just remember this, skipping rest is literally skipping results. So how do we put all these principles together? Easy. We plan. You start with the big picture. Where do you want to be in 6 months or a year? Then you break that down into smaller monthly goals, like focusing on strength 1 month and maybe endurance the next. And from there, you can map out exactly what you're going to do each week. Simple. So we've got the blueprint for success, but now we have to talk about the roadblocks. Because honestly, knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what you should be doing. Let's get into the most common traps that can totally derail your progress. We're going to go through the 7 most common mistakes people make. And as we go, just, be honest with yourself. See if any of these sound a little too familiar. Spotting them is the first step to fixing them for good. Okay, let's break them down. First, just showing up with no plan. Next, ego lifting. Piling on way too much weight before your form is perfect. Then we've got skipping those crucial rest days, using sloppy technique that's just asking for an injury, and forgetting about mobility. And then there are the 2 big ones, not giving your body the right fuel, and the #1 progress killer of all time, just not being consistent. This all comes down to a really important shift in mindset. It's not about how much weight you can heave around today, it's about how well you can lift it. Technique has to come before ego, always. If you master the movement with a lighter weight first, you build a solid foundation for real, safe, and lasting strength. You could have the most perfect training plan in the world, but if your nutrition isn't on point, you're leaving so many results on the table. Think of it like trying to drive a sports car on an empty tank of gas. So let's talk about how to fuel your body to match all that hard work. Before we even start talking about macros like protein and carbs, we have to start with the absolute foundation, energy. Calories. The #1 goal of a good nutrition plan is to figure out your personal energy needs to support your training, feel good, and avoid burnout. Everything else is built right on top of that. Now, don't let this table intimidate you. This is from the International Olympic Committee, and the key message is actually super simple. Your carb needs are not set in stone. They change based on how hard you're training. As you can see, the recommended amount goes way up as you move from a light day to a really intense one.
Let's make this totally real. Let's look at Lucia. She's a 55-kilo wellness athlete. On a day where her training is moderate, say about an hour, she'd need around 5 grams of carbs per kilo of her body weight. That's about 275 grams. But on a really intense training day, that number could shoot way up. It's all about matching your fuel to your effort.
Now, beyond carbs, we need to talk about protein. It's so important for muscle repair. A really solid target is somewhere between 1.4 and 2.0 grams per kilogram of your body weight, spread out across your meals during the day. After you've got your carbs and protein sorted, you just fill in the rest of your energy needs with healthy fats.
So here's the big idea. Start thinking of your plate as a tool. Every single meal is a new opportunity to fuel your next workout, help your body recover, and maintain all that hard-earned muscle you're building in the gym.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about the science, the right strategy, the mistakes to avoid, and the fuel you need. Now let's pull it all together so you have a clear path forward. So if you only remember 4 things from this whole explainer, make it these. First, trust the process. The science is on your side. This stuff works. Second, train smarter, not just harder, by using those core principles. Third, be consistent and always put good technique first. And finally, fuel your body for the job you're asking it to do.
And that's it. We've laid out the entire blueprint for you. The science, the strategy, the things to avoid. The only question left is the one you have to answer for yourself. You've got the tools. So, what are you going to build?